I reckon that's probably going to go all the way through. It's, of course, been a minute since I last broadcasted. So, where am I? What am I doing? What am I doing? My God, what am I doing? I am running a cafe series on Tuesday mornings locally so that I can generate some leads, I guess, on some new projects, really. And also because it's a way to create a space for people to bring their projects and ideas and different things that they're working on, and they can talk about it with each other in a open space, sometimes referred to as a third space, to create more things, opportunities, whatever. So it's been going on since early August, and it is now almost, I guess, 4 months in return. And it was something that we were doing before the pandemic that I did not start. Some other folks I know started it and had been doing it for quite a while, and then I joined in just basically before the pandemic started for a few months, and it was great. It was a really good time. It was a lot of fun. It was basically showing up in the morning and helping to make some food and coffee and sharing it with a community of folks for the whole morning before I would then go off to my other restaurant job. And it was really nice. And then the pandemic happened, and then a whole like slew of things happened. And so that went into hiatus for the longest time. And then so in July, August, somebody I have worked for and done projects with suddenly said, hey, let's do this again. We have some space right here. We can help, make this happen. And who's interested? And I was like, that would be me. So I have worked quite diligently for the last several months to bring this pop-up cafe series back. So it's one morning a week. It's Tuesday mornings, and it goes on for just a few hours. It's not a very long time, but it creates a space where people can talk about their projects and what they're doing and what they want to bring into community, and consequently it creates opportunity to build local community resilience, which is generally what it always comes back to for me, for so many different reasons: personal, professional, climate, everything, all the things. And it's been going pretty good. It needs to evolve some more. And then of course, in this time around, I also have to leave at a certain time, almost the exact same time as I did before, to go off to my other restaurant job, which is actually just right down the street. This is the fun part. So now I have a regular restaurant job where I work in a bar across from a train station, which I adore, and I have a lot of fun with that. And I wish my coworkers had more fun with that, but they just think I'm a weirdo. And I can walk from my Tuesday pop-up cafe to my other job. It's all in the one same neighborhood, and it is really nice to cultivate a work scene for yourself in a walkable neighborhood. I don't live in the neighborhood. I live just a few miles away, which is also pretty cool so far. And I love it. I really love it. It's very satisfying, and it's very, very much what I am looking for. And even though I live in a medium city, I guess, maybe small town, it's not that big. It's big enough. It's got some interesting things going on. But this particular neighborhood, this side of town, this little north edge, just has some complicated landscape that is beautiful and interesting, and there's always something to find. and it's very difficult to map out in your mind geographically because it's just so weird and juxtaposed with the river and the railroad, and the street layout is basically a main line from the highway to the hospital. So there's like all these different things going on. And there are only 2 restaurants on that whole street, and mine is one of them. And the other one is actually the old train station, so that's kind of cool too. So there's just like rich and cultural history and interesting transportation history. So all these things going on, and it's also in the flood zone, so that's also potentially very, very interesting. So we'll see. See how that goes. I'm very happy, actually, with the way that I've crafted this little pocket of my life, this little era, this space time that I'm existing in. I'm quite content with it. In fact, so content that I, of course, renewed my apartment lease. Well, actually, I renewed my apartment lease when I had a different job that I was making a lot more money, and then things changed, and now I'm making less money, or returning to what I was making. Actually, I'm making even less than what I was making before I took the job that was making more money. So, all that to say, it is not cheap to have a local 15-minute walkable city life. I love that there's like so much emphasis on like, oh, walkable neighborhoods, and oh, we should have these, connected cities and all these wonderful things, except for that it's just so difficult to live in those cities and actually have access to those 15-minute walkable neighborhoods. So I am at a point where I might have to just move on, let it all go. I don't want to, but I also have some other ideas of what I need to be doing with my life and time. So we'll see how it all unfolds in the next 8 months, I guess. Thereabouts. The plight of the cities. The plight of creative folks, I reckon. So what else have I been doing with my time? I've been writing my 100 essay series, much to some folks' dismay. I have been working on that now since, I guess, let's see, maybe a year ago in March, I think. A year ago in April I started it, and had some very ambitious goals of how soon I would be able to finish 100 essays, and then by the end of last year I finished 50, and by the end of this year I am hoping to finish another 50, but I think that I will actually probably finish my 100 essay series by the end of January. It's more reasonable. So I have been publishing that on my Medium blog, which is dawn.earth.medium.com or something to that effect. And I can maybe even pull it up here on the screen. Kind of. Yes. Yeah, so that's where I've been posting a lot of short essays, like 500 to 800 words, generally, that neighborhood. And I was submitting them to some of their little online publications. And then I had a couple of episodes where I didn't like what the editor did to my essay, which is kind of what happened the last time I quit a publication. So I have just been publishing them to my own page. I don't submit them to the other online publications as much anymore. I also like the satisfaction of publishing immediately when I hit the button publish, not waiting for somebody else to get around to it. I'm not sure if that's good or bad, or probably a little bit of both, but yeah, so this is one of the, so that title there, A New Water Year, so I also keep track of the precipitation data on a daily basis, and I write it down, and then I submit it to a National Citizen Science Observation Network program based at Colorado State University, and then they publish the results of all these different observation stations across the country, actually across the, I think, US and Canada. I'm not sure about Mexico, I'd have to look at the map again, but it's pretty cool. And so I was just writing about a new water year, and that starts on October 1st. I think sometimes there's a little bit of fluctuation, but it's generally October 1st to September 30th every year. So I was just writing a little bit about that, and that's posted there at the top. And generally writing about adaptation, resilience, urban city issues, and then just putting a personal essay twist on it to the best of my ability. And I've been working on a Sunday dispatch, so I try to publish most Sundays, even though from time to time will take a hiatus, which I've been doing the last couple of Sundays with the holiday. And the Sunday dispatch being kind of a design series, sometimes more of a domestic series, I guess, when I decide to just write about food, or, I mean, I don't know, I guess I really integrate both the design and the domestic. That's kind of the point, really. So I guess maybe I am making more progress than I thought. And yeah, so that's it. I've not been working on my music so much. I had hoped to finish 2 songs by the end of this year, which I will probably revise the latest versions to get a little bit more finished products out of them, but they will not be finished by the end of this year, and I'm not going to put myself through the hell of trying to finish those songs by the end of this year. And now that I've said that, maybe I will actually finish them by the end of this year. Now that I've let myself off the hook, it will be easier to actually do the thing. So, yeah. Let's see, what else do I got going on? I've been reviewing some different local beers for work. That's been fun. I tend to like lagers, and so I brought home the, oh, look at that. Let's see, can I do this without getting confused? Okay, Wolverine Premium Lager, which has this cute little, oh, that's so fun. It's like a mirror that I'm looking at right now. It has that little picture of Michigan and the Wolverine, what are they called? Wolverine State Brewing Company there, located there in the southeast Michigan. They've got a really good selection of lagers, and so I have found myself reviewing quite a few of their beers, and I will probably bring that to an end here soon because I don't like to drink a lot of beer all the time. I'll go through like a series of things, series of taste tests or whatever, you know, just testing some different things, and then end it because you know, moderation. So that's another thing. I was considering writing a little bit about that in another form, but we'll see because I've got a lot of things going on. Yeah. The other thing that I've got going on is I'm trying to schedule this tour of a glass recycling facility. It's about 3 hours away, and I had one tour scheduled and then they canceled because the tour guide could not do it that day, and then I tried to reschedule recently, but it's not the most ideal day for me to travel 3 hours away, so I'm going to see if there's a different date available. I cannot express enough how exciting it is to think about going into a glass recycling facility and seeing molten glass being like, that sounds pretty cool. So I have yet to find anyone else in my immediate life that is as excited about that as I am. So I will most likely be doing that on my own fairly soon, I hope. Hopefully, maybe even in the next month, but it might be a little bit longer. So that will be another thing that I will write about for sure once that happens. I did write a little bit about glass recycling in the restaurant industry quite a few months ago now. I would probably write about that some more in general. And also, one of the cool things I found is that the wine industry is very, there are folks who are very interested in reducing the weight of wine bottles, the glass wine bottles, and so there's, shaving the weight off of glass wine bottles. So I found myself wanting to weigh all of the glass recyclables at work, which I don't have a way of doing, but I really would like to be able to do that, and I sent that to somebody today, and they're just like, what? And this is how I know I am a graduate of the School of Natural Resources and Environment at the U of M, where we would call each other nerds, because we are just basically science nerds, and I miss having that camaraderie. Let me tell you, I miss it so much. I am basically an isolated practitioner at this point, and while I am proud of my diligence and faithfulness to the mission, it is really lonely work sometimes, and I miss having the camaraderie of other science nerds that have the same values and the same progressive values of environmentalism and stewardship, and I know that it's important to be doing this work when, especially around folks that don't share those values as much, to influence that behavior change, which is what I've been doing for the last 2 years, basically. But it does get to be lonely work. So I mean, that's why I want to go to this glass recycling facility too, is because it's those are people that have those values as well. So hopefully I will find some more folks that share these values in my daily life, and will appreciate that I want to weigh the glass that we are recycling at work, so that I can then start to, devise a strategy of how we can reduce the amount of glass packaging that we are sourcing. Not that it will necessarily be applied in this job, but I will be able to devise a strategy for potentially another job, or or other places that are interested in that kind of information. So yeah, it's a little bit more of the technical side of things. Thanks for listening. Yeah, okay. So this is also a new setup that I've created. I've been working on, I've also been working on creating a tabletop bar setup so that I can do some different things on camera and just in general as a pop-up bartender, because it's not just about the pop-up cafe, but it's about pop-up bartending. And so, but what I found is that these tabletop pieces that I'm working on and refinishing are also excellent for broadcasting. So that's pretty cool, and that's what I'm using now, and that is how we have the setup that I have framed. Still a work in progress. This is the first time I've actually broadcast from this setup, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm very pleased with how this is evolving. It's pretty cool. I've got 3 pieces that I'm working on. 2 of them are identical. One is I've finished staining, the other one is done. I think I'm done sanding it and it's ready to be stained, except for that it's way too cold outside to be staining something on my balcony. I'm certainly not going to be doing it inside. And then I've got one more piece to work on that needs to be sanded still, and that's the longer piece. That's probably the front end of the tabletop bar, I'm guessing, depending on how I set it up. And then I can start using that bar top setup to do some interesting broadcasts probably first. And one of the first things I will do is just show you how I make pomegranate juice because it's so fun to take apart a pomegranate and make juice, and sometimes make syrup when I can get that far, but usually it's just satisfying enough to drink the juice because it's pretty good. So that's usually as far as I get, but that will be a subject for another day, and then I'll like do some other stuff that I find interesting. And then the other element to weave into all of that is, of course, again, glass. And so I have these 2 glasses that I got from a conference when I went to Phoenix, Arizona in August for a bartenders conference, where there's a whole company devoted to recycling glass to turn it into glassware that you can use. And so I got a couple of those glasses, which I will bring on camera also at another time. And then I really start to think about glassware and like the ins and outs of how we use glass, and the fact that it's just kind of fun and interesting because glasses are a neat thing to design and share as a social, symbolic interaction, basically. And yeah, just some more geeky stuff. Yeah. Yep. And I think that's maybe probably all I got. Like, I might have a little bit more other stuff that I can't think of at the moment, but this was kind of like my test run broadcast, this new setup, new-ish setup. Still some of the same computer and camera gear, just this studio setup really is a little bit different. Yeah, so. Yeah. Oh, and it's Giving Tuesday. That's the other thing. It's like some of my favorite numbers. 1s and 2s and 8s, and it's Tuesday, and it's Giving Tuesday. So make sure that you have donated to your favorite cause, or a cause that is worthy of some attention and support. And you can, of course, donate to me. If you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link somewhere there on the below the video somewhere. It's there. And I guess I'll see you next time. It seems like maybe I'm doing a last Tuesday of the month routine here. Thereabouts. Hopefully. And so I guess I will plan for the New Year's Eve-ish version of this Tuesday update series. Alright, well, thank you for tuning in, for caring about what I'm working on, for making it this far in the broadcast of all of my goofy, boring silliness, and yeah, I'll see you later. Cheers.